No nonsense guy.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the February 6, 2024 Hamilton Council meeting to order. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Whalen?
Here.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Here.
Five are present.
If we can please rise for the flag salute, followed by the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Dear God, source of all hope and mercy, pray for this country, state, and township. May we grow with a strong compassion and generosity for others, and may this government represent and be responsive to the needs and concerns of the public. We make all these intentions in your name. Amen. So before we jump into the agenda, I just wanted to advise everyone here that there's been some updates to the agenda this evening that are different from the agenda that was posted on the website. Just two. One was an amendment to wording in resolution title CA7 24-071. The amount has not changed, it's just been broken down differently. It's been broken down by the year. So it's a 2-year contract. There's also CA14, that is an added resolution 24-078. It's a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application for the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs Local Recreation Improvement for Veterans Park Hockey Rink and Skate Park. Grant funding for the amount of $100,000. Can I please have a motion on the agenda, the amendments to the agenda?
I'll make that motion. Second.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
First up, we have communications on our agenda.
C1 is the Robbinsville Hamilton Rotary Club request permission to conduct food collections at the Foley's Family Market, 1080 White Horse, Mercerville Road, on various approved dates. And then C2, joint proclamation acknowledging February 2024 as Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention.
I'm going to have Councilman Whalen do the reading of that proclamation, please.
Thank you, Council President. Whereas 1 in 3 teens will experience physical, sexual, or emotional abuse from someone they're in a relationship before becoming adults. And whereas respectful, supportive, nonviolent relationships are key to safety, health, and academic success. And whereas each February, young adults and their loved ones nationwide raise awareness about teen dating violence through Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. This annual month-long effort focuses on advocacy and education to stop dating abuse before it starts. Whereas teen dating is a significant health issue where victimization increases teens' risk for injury, substance abuse, eating disorders, unwanted pregnancy, and in some cases suicide. Whereas parents, teachers, coaches, and other important people in teens' lives have the power to influence youth in a positive way and to help promote healthy teen dating. And whereas Hamilton Township encourages all citizens to promote healthy teen relationships by having conversations about respectful and nonviolent relations in homes, schools, and communities. And now therefore be jointly resolved by Jeffrey S. Martin, Mayor, and the Hamilton Township Council recognizing the month of February 2024 as Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month.
Thank you, Councilman Whalen.
C3 is a joint proclamation acknowledging February 2024 as Black History Month.
I have Councilwoman Nancy Phillips read that proclamation for me.
Thank you, Council President. Whereas noted historian Dr. Carter G. Woodson announced the second week of February as, quote, Negro History Week, unquote, in 1926 to increase public awareness and appreciation of the important role that Black Americans have played in shaping Americans' history. And whereas the United States government officially recognized Negro History Week in 1976 as part of the U.S. bicentennial, expanding it to Black History Month. And whereas America is a melting pot of cultures and ethnicities, all part of the land of the free. Black History Month fosters cultural awareness and understanding while encouraging education about contributions made by Black Americans. And whereas the omission of much of the history and contributions of Black Americans from textbooks and other literature has impeded awareness and appreciation. And whereas the contributions of Black Americans have been vital to the growth and development of the United States, New Jersey, and Hamilton Township. The celebration of Black History Month is a positive way of recognizing the culture and history of Black Americans and is vital to the core beliefs and values of our society. Now therefore be it jointly resolved by Jeffrey S. Martin, Mayor, and the Hamilton Township Council, recognizing the month of February 2024 as Black History Month.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Communications C4 is a joint proclamation acknowledging February 2024 as American Heart Month.
Councilman Tai?
Since 1964, U.S. presidents have annually declared February as American Heart Month. Throughout the month, healthcare workers, government entities, and nonprofit organizations campaign to raise awareness of heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups in the United States. 1 in 3 women are diagnosed with heart disease, and nearly 700,000 lives are claimed from cardiovascular disease each year. Oftentimes, heart disease may be silent and not diagnosed until a person experiences signs or symptoms of a heart attack, heart failure, or an arrhythmia. And high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol, and smoking are key risk factors for heart disease. By living a healthy lifestyle, individuals can keep blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar levels normal and lower their risk for heart disease and heart attack. During American Heart Month, we commit to supporting the more than 120 million Americans living with a cardiovascular condition, promote the advancement of groundbreaking and life-saving research, the expansion of access to affordable health care, prescription drugs, and of healthy lifestyles. So now, therefore, be it jointly resolved by Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the Hamilton Township Council that we do hereby recognize the month of February 2024 as American Heart Month.
Thank you, Councilman Tai. Any further comments on the 4 communications that are up this evening? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve C1 through C4?
Motion to approve communications C1 through C4.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
This is 5-0. Next, we have consent agenda items CA1 through CA14.
So we have a short agenda this evening of 14 items. I'll just go through them, summarize them fairly quickly. We have reappointments, public defender and our assistant public defender. We have a resolution for the appointment of the alternate public defender. We also have an official that would be appointed to the Board of Public Officials, Public Officers, I'm sorry. We have a resolution to the State DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, for Green Acres, our Green Acres program. We have an agreement with Mercer, which I alluded to earlier on, an update to that, which is a 2-year commitment. We also have professional services agreement with Francisco Vilota from Fire Medical Director Services. We also are adding an engineering firm. We have a refund on a dog license, and we also are making some improvements to Nottingham Ballroom, painting and minor renovations over at that facility so we can have that prepared for rental purposes, hopefully early this summer. In addition, we're also looking at some improvements to sidewalks, ramps, and curbs. And I'll just give everyone the specific streets. It's Lansing Ave, Gridley Street, Fenwood Avenue, Agabetti Court, Jamaica Way, Cardigan Road, O'Rourke Drive, Melody Court, Sally Street, and McCoy Avenue. If you need the specifics, please feel free to talk to me after the meeting, but that information is readily available from the clerk's office as well. We also are purchasing a fire truck. $1 million of the fire truck is covered by a grant, which is exciting news. And we're prepaying the cost to reduce the amount by a total of $250,000. So that's smart financing, if you ask me. So any questions from our council regarding agenda items CA1 through CA14?
No.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Janice.
Oh, Janice, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Janice Skolnick, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. The purchase of the fire truck, is that replacing something, or is that going to be a whole new truck added to the entourage?
I think that's I'll let Kathy respond to that.
Sorry, I was supposed to look it up. It's a replacement, and I think they're going to be moving one of them into a reserve status, as they normally do with their fire trucks, and so, but this is a little different than the other trucks that they have. It's obviously a little more up-to-date and newer. It'll be a lot newer. It'll take a while to get here, but we're taking advantage of discounts on it too, so we got a pretty good discount on it.
Okay, because from the write-up, it sounds like this would be one spectacular truck.
Yes, and it's got a big price tag on it, but again, because we're going to prepay a portion of it, we're going to save about $250,000 on it.
That's stupendous.
So it is great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Janice. What is, Kathy, what is the timeline on that? It looks like it's going to be 2 years?
I think it's 2 years, yeah,
Okay.
Before we receive delivery.
correct. So they've already been working on the specs for it and everything else, and the order can go in, but it takes that long to really build it. And it's a whole process that members of the fire department are all involved in as well.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, I'd like to have a motion.
Council President, seeing no members of the public wishing to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move consent agenda items CA1 through CA14.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 124-001 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. This is repealing spaces established at 19 Edward Court, with a space located on Carl Hughes Drive, Ordinance 18049, and 2336 South Clinton Avenue, with a space located on Lyda Street by Ordinance 04-022. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any comments from my council colleagues?
No, sir. No, sir.
Any comments from the public? I have a motion.
Council President, I'll make a motion, seeing no public comment, to close the public comment portion and move on ordinance 124-001.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 224-002 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. Then this is establishing spaces at 16 Charlotte, 151 Chinnick Street, 524 East Howe, with a space located on Bergen Street, 71 Lafayette Avenue, 2300 Liberty Street, with a space located on Charlotte Avenue, 31 McClellan Avenue, and 110A Wirt Avenue. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any council comments on this ordinance?
No, Mr.
No, sir.
President.
Public comment regarding ordinance number 24-002? Seeing none?
Council President, I move to close the public portion and move on ordinance number 224-002.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 3, 24-003 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 468, Towing. Second reading and public hearing.
Any of my council colleagues wishing to comment on this?
I do not.
I do not.
Anyone from the public? Yes,
How you doing?
if you would mind stating your name.
Justin McCooch.
Justin.
I own Hamilton Auto Clinic and Highgear Towing. So there's a couple things, looking at the ordinance, let's see here. Just try to get this clarified here.
Take your time.
I don't see any page numbers here, so just, I'll read it off. It says, "At the expense of the applicant shall also cause each of the drivers have a interstate identification index background check performed by the state-approved facility prior to the driver performing any towing services in the township. Tower must provide all copies of background checks performed to the township." So as far as the background checks go, who would you guys want to do these background checks? So we have a company that we use through HireRight, through AAA. They do a background check, and they also do driver's abstract. It's just not a certified copy from New Jersey. And I just wanted to clarify that because I don't see in here where some townships require that you have it done by a certain facility.
No.
So there's no, so, okay, so that's fine. Let me see here.
To my knowledge, you're not the only towing company that utilizes that.
No, there's multiple companies that utilize HireRight.
Right.
Right, and sir, just so you understand, the sentence in brackets is being taken out. The sentences that underlined is what's being inserted.
Gotcha.
So there's,
It says that on the last page.
Okay, well,
Normally it says it on every.
That's
I
a good question.
apologize.
Read
Yep.
over with him.
no, it's okay.
Thank you.
Just so you understand, because otherwise, like, it doesn't make sense if you read it
Okay.
as whole.
Melissa, before he goes any further, just to touch on that. And this brings us to keep everything consistent with the other drivers, because I know town ordinance specifies that limo drivers, taxi drivers, everybody medallion for the township also has to have the same background check every 2 years, right?
Right, and it's it's under the sort of purview of the police chief,
Gotcha.
he determines what he prefers to see and what kind of background check is preferred.
All right, thank you.
Okay, also, touching on the drivers, it says, "All drivers must obtain an official tow identification card and maintain a safe driving record," obviously. "Such as identification card shall be presented to the officer at the scene for verification. That individual is a licensed and approved tower for the official towing company." As far as the identification card, is that something that Hamilton Township provides, or is that something, okay, so Hamilton Township provide that upon the background check and things of that nature. Okay, perfect. Another thing, a certificate of occupancy must be furnished with the application indicating that the license is legally zoned for towing and storage of the vehicles or is subject to the land use approval permitting such use in accordance. Hamilton doesn't offer a C though.
No, the zoning enforcement officer, Mr. Cosman, has already gone out, I believe, and
Yeah.
completed those inspections.
Okay, because it just, looking at here, says, a certificate of occupancy, and
Can
you
you
guys
just tell
don't.
me what part of the ordinance number? I don't see that.
Section number.
Was it further down?
Section number or anything?
Well,
You see the squiggly line with 468 or 468-9, 468-10?
oh, yeah, it's probably the previous page, which I probably got the pages mixed up here. Bear with me 1 second.
Is there 11 or stuff?
Approval procedures, 468-8, I believe.
Okay,
It's item number 5.
let's see.
Is that correct?
Hold on, we're still scrolling.
Yeah,
Page 220 for us.
220?
220, top of the page, number 5.
You're quick, Pat.
A certificate of occupancy furnished by the application.
This already existed though, right? This was already
Right.
part of the original.
This is not being changed. So what this is basically, as the clerk has stated, our zoning officer is going out and confirming that where your
Facility is,
facility is, it's correctly zoned.
okay.
Bless you.
God bless. Here's.
So the certificate of occupancy,
I don't think it's,
It's not necessary to be in there, it's just one of those items that we just overlooked, kind of, but again, these places have been in business for several years, so
Yep.
Mr. Cosmo goes out and does those inspections and would let us know, I mean, if someone.
they're going concerns, it's not a new, you only get a CO if you were a new
right,
occupant.
right,
You're
and
gonna
you're
have
actually
to see
living
it.
there. These are,
You've been there.
these are
Correct.
businesses.
Yeah, but if you've
Right.
been there 50 years or 20 years or 10 years, it might be hard to dig up your
Should the
CO.
township have a copy of that on file already? This is nothing new.
It depends how old these files are.
We're putting too fine a point on it. The bottom line is, as long as the inspection is done and the space is found to be legal for
Compliant.
that purpose.
Excellent.
Perfect. And then, another thing, let's see here. Find the squiggly line. This isn't what we're doing. Okay, it says winching here. Repositioning of a vehicle that has been overturned or is off the roadway or the shoulder so as to accommodate the hooking position of a vehicle onto the tow truck vehicle. Winching shall exclude the pulling of a vehicle onto a flatbed. So I guess to clarify that, if you have a vehicle that's sideways in the road, up against the curb, and you can't just back right up to it, to clarify the definition, that would be winching, correct?
Oh, you're at the definitions?
Well, I'm just looking here, it says, I don't know if that's part of the ordinance or it's just a part of the definitions here. The ordinance amending, so building,
Yeah.
Yeah, winching is right at the top of it's in the
Oh, okay.
definitions. There are a couple of pages of definitions at the top, and it's on like the third, it's toward the end because it's in alphabetical
yes.
Right,
order.
and this is also already in the ordinance, it's not being amended tonight.
okay, perfect. And then, let's see here.
Justin, can I get you to come back up? Because we have a 4-minute limit, then we'll have you come up for 2 minutes.
I apologize.
No, you're fine, you're fine, no apologies necessary. I'm just going to open it up and I'll bring you back up again. Yep. Hey, Joe. Just your name, Chuck, and
Charles Mason, Chuck Stowing. How are you guys?
good.
Good, thanks.
Just a quick question for clarification, came up at the last Towers meeting. 46810, letter A. Minimum vehicle requirements. Every official tower shall maintain and have available to render services a minimum of 1 regular tow truck with wheel lift, 2 flatbed vehicles, and 1 medium-duty towing vehicle of at least 15,000 GVW. So this came up in discussion at the last meeting, and I don't think we ever got a clarification. The way I'm reading this, I'm required to have 4 vehicles to meet the standards.
This has actually been, this is part of what's being changed. So if you look again, 468-10, minimum standard performance, there's a bracket.
Mhm.
So there's a bracket that goes all the way down to the end of C2. And then the new language is just the language that is underlined. To qualify for inclusion on the list of official towers, applicants must meet the New Jersey state guidelines as may be amended for light-duty service records, heavy-duty service records, and heavy-duty recovery records.
Okay, so the state police requires 3 vehicles, so that's where it's going.
That's where it's
Okay. And also brought up during the last meeting, in many years of the ordinance being changed, as far as cleanup of motor vehicle accidents, 30 years ago, the ordinance read that we were responsible for the public right-of-way, the street, the sidewalk. You know, that was our area of responsibility to clean up. Over the years, it got changed, got removed. So what's happened in the last 10, 15 years, cars have become more fragile, more plastic, more garbage. And we're finding more and more vehicles ending up on people's front lawns. So we obviously pick up the big pieces, but you have a lawn full of 1,000 pieces of little plastic. So we do our job. A day or two later, the resident is on the phone with the police station saying, my lawn is full of thousands of pieces of plastic. You need to send somebody back out here to clean this up. Well, we're not landscapers. We don't have, leaf rakes and, leaf blowers and whatnot. So it was, brought up that can we get it back into the ordinance that the public right of way is our responsibility, not personal property per se is our responsibility to clean up.
Where's that expressed in the ordinance?
It's not.
Oh.
When this was rewritten, the last time we had the towers meeting, it was brought up, but it never got addressed. So for clarification. So, that's what I'm saying. Can we get something to state what our area of responsibility is, and to clarify, public right of way or public and personal property?
So one of the goals with our updating of this ordinance is to bring our ordinance in compliance with the state ordinance. So if it's not in the state ordinance, then we would have to,
Yeah, because the state ordinance, you're basically dealing with highways. So, and, again, that's our, our responsibility, even though state DOT will do it a lot of time, we don't even have to do it anymore. But, if you're having highway areas versus residential streets and county roads and streets, it's a different aspect of service.
Yeah.
So like I said, we are required to do a public cleanup, but, where does the line end from public to private?
No, I got you.
And it just needs a clarification or a stipulation or.
Can you show me where it says that they're responsible for a public cleanup?
I'm looking for it right now.
Again, it's not in there.
I think you said-
It got removed at some point, but, through previous, the last 30 years, it was in there, that the tower was responsible for the public right of way. And it's gotten removed, but it's still an issue we have to deal with every day. So,
You're dealing with accidents adjacent to private property.
yeah, or like I said, you have a vehicle ends up on, on a front lawn of somebody's house.
Right.
Obviously, like I said, we'll pick up a bumper or, big
Right.
chunks, but if we got thousands of pieces of plastic all over the lawn, not something we can really handle, but like I said, residents are calling back to the police station days later saying, there's a mess on my lawn. Who's gonna take care of this? And
So-
then, we get called back out and, we stand there and say to the officer, what can we do with this? This is beyond our scope of services.
Right, and although I'm not your lawyer, arguably you don't have a right to go onto the person's property unless you're given permission.
Yeah, there is that area as well. We're there being instructed by the police to remove the car from the front lawn, but, beyond that, yes, there is that gray area. How much time do we spend? Or, are we really, belong there?
I guess my question was it ever articulated in our previous towing ordinance,
Yeah, like I
a
said,
reference to
it
that?
was years and years ago.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's something that we can definitely take under consideration, and I appreciate the way you articulated that, because it makes sense, the state here, and with the state and the fact that they are mainly highways and things like that, I understand. So, but I appreciate the comment, yep.
Just another question, just saying about they use higher rate, for the background check part. We tried to get signed up with them and it was a total nightmare. Could we submit the New Jersey State Police background check that, we have to do every year with the state police? Would that be acceptable?
When was it done?
Well, we just did it, a couple weeks ago because they just renewed, they just did their renewal. So would that be acceptable
I
versus?
don't see why the police department would not
Not
accept,
acceptable.
it would be acceptable, it's acceptable everywhere else, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to comment for the first time from the public? Seeing none, Justin? Floor is yours.
Okay, so I just have one last thing. as far as the wreckers Chuck was talking about, and I see they have light and medium duty kind of clumped together, and heavy duty separate. So I'm just making a suggestion here because I've been called out multiple times because the light duty guys can't handle it for a medium duty vehicle where state police put medium and heavy together, even though they have a rate for medium duty and heavy duty. And then the light duty list is, a separate list altogether.
Are you just talking about how it's defined
How-
in the ordinance?
Yeah, how it's separated as far as,
Or how it's lumped together, that was another,
Well, because that's the way our license is issued, it's light, medium, and then heavy is separate.
that way, yeah, it should be actually medium, heavy,
Yeah, but
and
then
light
it's being-
separate.
It's,
Allison, you got the section? Or Alyssa?
Is
Uh,
this page
for-
217 and the top, bottom of 217, top of 218?
468-10, section A, it looks like, I think.
but what's being removed is from the parenthesis all the way down to,
I'm not 100% sure, but
So this is in brackets.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
so there
being
we go.
removed.
to number 2 on page
All the way
218
to there is being removed, and they're just adding this in.
to qualify.
okay. All right, so
you have
that
that.
makes sense, because I don't know how to read this.
Okay.
I'm not very familiar with that. So to qualify for inclusion in the official towers list, applicants must meet New Jersey state guidelines and may be amended for light-duty service records, heavy-duty service records, and heavy-duty recovery records. Okay, so I guess, yeah, because the state police separated the medium and heavy from the light. Okay, yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wishing to make comment? Okay. Can I have a motion?
Mr. President, I'd like to close the public comment portion and move ordinance number 32403 on second reading.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 124-004 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. This is establishing a space for 235 East Franklin Street. This is first reading and introduction.
Can I have a motion on this ordinance 24-004?
Council-
Go ahead.
Race for it.
Council President, I move ordinance 24-004 on first reading.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 224-005 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. It is repealing spaces established at 29 Adela Avenue by ordinance 17-020, 645 Burke Avenue by ordinance 20-046, 816 South Olin Avenue by ordinance 14-033, and 833 William Street by ordinance 10-033. This is first reading and introduction.
Can I please have a motion on this ordinance?
Council President, I'll make a motion to move on first reading and introduction of ordinance 224-005.
I'll second the motion. Why is
On
that
the
so
motion,
loud?
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 324-006 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 153, Cannabis and Medical Cannabis, Article 1, Purpose Definitions, Section 153-2, Definitions. First
Can I
reading.
have a motion?
Council President, I'll move on ordinance number 324-066.
Thank you. Can I have a second? 06, yes.
Didn't I say 006? Whatever. 006.
Can I get a second?
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
I'm going to abstain due to my work with the
Carabelli?
Yes.
Resolution carries 401. Ordinance 4, 24-007, ordinance authorizing the change in name of that certain roadway in the Township of Hamilton, which is presently known as Olivia Avenue, which shall hereinafter be named Brian D. Sutton Senior Way. This is first reading and introduction.
Can I have a motion on this ordinance?
Council President, I move ordinance 24-007 on first reading.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 5, 24-008, ordinance authorizing the Township of Hamilton to purchase real property located at 1770 East State Street and designated as Block 1637, Lot 5, Hamilton, New Jersey, with a purchase price of $150,000, estimated closing cost $10,000, total amount of funding $160,000. This is first reading and introduction.
Can I have a motion on this ordinance?
I'll move ordinance number 5, 24-008.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, that brings us to comments from the public. Anyone wishing to comment on any matter from the public? Lisa?
Yeah, it's in the county.
Good evening, Lisa Williams, Reiner Lane. I'm wondering, the last meeting I asked if we could upgrade the phone system at the shelter, and I'm wondering if there's an update on, there was a lot of, we didn't know where it was in the hierarchy of doing that. Do we have more information on that?
So again, we're in the process of replacing the entire phone system throughout the township. And so the shelter has been put on the priority list at the top.
Thank you.
So hopefully theirs will go first. They were still going to try to work on an immediate fix, or at least, patch it somehow so that there was an option until we do that, because I don't have a time frame for you yet. I know it's imminent, but I just don't know if it's going to be next month or 2 months from now yet. Okay?
I have another phone system question, and a request. Could you have all department heads call their own phone numbers from an outside line to hear what the recorded voicemail instructions that the public receives when they call in? See what they say, and are they accurate? Because that situation that resulted in me learning about the shelters system, the court's information on their voicemail system about filing a complaint was not accurate. So I followed those instructions and went to the court and was turned away and couldn't fill out my paperwork and submit it because the information on the voicemail that says they only accept citizens' complaints Monday through Friday, I forget the exact hours, I have it written down, maybe it was like 9 to 11 or 9:30 to 11. No, you can't do anything but pick up paperwork. You have to complete your paperwork first and then get an appointment and come back. So even though I could complete my paperwork sitting in the lobby, I was turned away. So that caused me to say, how many other departments have wrong information on their outgoing voicemails?
Kathy,
And could we ask people
appreciate
to
that.
check them from
Yeah.
outside
Thank you.
lines so you get what the public gets?
We have regular director meetings, so we'll bring that up with each one of them.
Thank you. I
Okay,
appreciate
my next question, the mayor mentioned at the public forum that there was a recent elevator situation in this building where somebody got stuck and the call did not go outside the building. So my question is, how old is our elevator? And when was it last put in? And is this call not going out of the building a elevator malfunction, or was it to a different phone number that maybe didn't get transferred correctly when we changed the fire department? Like, did that go out to a local fire department that before the consolidation phone number and the wrong number? Like, how did that happen?
So I don't know the age of the elevator. I do know it's obviously been retrofitted for this 100-plus-year-old building. And so at some point it was put into what used to be, I believe, a janitor's closet and has been the elevator since. We've had a multitude of problems with that. We have a maintenance agreement on it. We have regular inspections on it, but we also regularly have them out to repair it when it gets stuck, when the doors get stuck, when it's not operating properly, because it gets a lot of use. Obviously, you have a lot of activity that the public needs to access and have to, go to the second floor and the third floor.
You may recall, we've had council meetings canceled because of the malfunctioning elevator. It's been
So it's
an
been a
issue.
problem.
It's one of the issues with this building that we're going to address with.
One of the reasons why we are looking forward to a new building, and that's why the mayor brought it up. In terms of the notification system in it, I believe it was supposed to go to, and it had been set up maybe years ago, to go to a phone number in the police department, not fire. It wasn't, I don't believe it's connected to that. And they were looking into, it was going to really what was a deadline. There was they don't even know what the phone number was. So it was obviously an old number.
That should be tested on a regular basis.
You're absolutely correct. So I think they've rectified that already. And of course, it'll be on for future testing just to make sure it's operating properly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Anyone else? Yes, Janice.
Janice Connick, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Okay, my girlfriend asked me to ask. I'm the neighborhood. If you have a problem, ask Janice, she'll put it up. They always used to get the Hamilton Post, and now they don't. And she didn't realize it until I said one day, did you see this article in there? Because she has some medical issues and it was by a doctor. She goes, oh, we haven't been getting the paper. They live in Enchantment, which is Hamilton, even though their address is Robbinsville. And they were getting the post, and now they don't get it. And so they would like to know, the Enchantment neighborhood, how do they go about getting it back? Because they pay Hamilton taxes. They are Hamilton Township, even though their address is Robbinsville. Is the post office having a problem with that because it's supposed to be Hamilton delivered to Hamilton and not delivered to Robbinsville?
Do you know if they're getting the Robbinsville monthly, or are they getting just not getting anything? Because there's a Robbinsville Community News. The entity that runs it is called Community News, and there's 9 specific municipal geared monthlies that they put out, and publications that they put out. I'm just curious whether they're getting now the Robbinsville one rather than the Hamilton one.
She didn't say anything
Okay.
about that, but she said, she really likes the Hamilton one.
Why don't we talk offline? I can get her address, and you think it's the entire development?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked to a couple of the neighbors, and they said they didn't have it either, and
Okay.
they were looking forward to it, and like they said, they paid the taxes, and
Sure.
the husband went down to the post office, and they didn't know exactly what was going on. So I said, well, I'll ask you guys would know more than anybody.
Okay.
Okay?
And there
We'll
is
follow.
on the community news website, there is a way to contact them. So it's put out by Community News, the Hamilton Post.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So do they have to get a hold of them?
They might need to, yes. So there is,
It's private.
It's not a township-based.
Oh, I thought the township.
No,
put it
it's
out.
it's a
Post,
private
no.
entity that is putting out that. It's called Community News. And
It's
they're
private business.
It's a private business that puts out the publication, but I could talk to
Anthony will.
Yeah, I'll follow up with them.
All right.
I know them
Anthony's.
yeah.
Do you want her address and all?
Afterwards, I can get it from you.
Okay, all right,
Sure,
and,
no problem.
Thank you for being so thorough and efficient on my other questions.
Oh,
too. I'm duly
you're
impressed.
welcome. You're welcome.
Mr. President, yes, very good.
Thank you, Jess.
Another guy.
Anyone else from the public wishing to make comment? Okay, open it up to our council members.
I'm not going to steal too much of your thunder, Mr. President. I am going to congratulate Nottingham High School for winning the Consumer Bowl. I'll let you expand on it, but I do want to congratulate the kids because I saw you in that picture. Only thing I can say is check the mayor's website on Facebook. There's a couple things that I noted. They have a Clear to Shelter event I know the shelter's overcrowded. Also, there's assistance with income tax on there, and also free meal assistance. So I know there's some important stuff on there. Other than that, I'm going to keep it very brief and say goodnight.
Very good, Pat. I'm going to also keep it brief. It's a good meeting tonight. We went over, even though it was a smaller agenda, we did accomplish a lot. I see there was a couple items on the consent agenda, naturally the ladder truck for our fire department to make sure that, not only we continue to serve our residents, but make sure that they have proper apparatuses to do their work. One of the things on the upcoming calendar, if you look, it's not on there, but on the 15th is the Valentine's dance for the seniors from 3 to 11 at the senior center. So pass that along to some of your friends and throughout the township. It's always a nice event. Other than that, we'll see you on the 20th and see what the next agenda brings us. Drive safe and have a great night.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, I just want to point out that we continue to see savings from the township grant efforts to secure grants, another $1 million in savings for the township, hugely impactful. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Councilman Ty. Councilwoman Phillips.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going from first to last, it's quite the difference. Everything's been said. I will add actually from the mayor's page also, if you're not familiar with Women's Space, they're a great organization here in Mercer County helping families, men, women, and children who are victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. And they're actively looking for volunteers for the response team to be an advocate. I did this myself in my 20s. They give you your training, and it's a great way to serve your community. So I just wanted to point that out. And again, thank you for coming out tonight. I think it was a great meeting, and have a good night.
I've been forewarned, thank you, Councilwoman. I've been forewarned by the administration, the mayor, that this is don't expect this to be the norm, this late agenda tonight. But I just wanted to thank the administration, the professionals, the mayor for the public hearing. I thought it went very well for the new municipal school administration building last month. It was very thorough. I also wanted to mention, Councilman Pipero mentioned this, I actually sat as a judge, and though I was not biased, I was actually very happy that Nottingham obviously won this year's 2024 Mercer County Consumer Bowl. It actually was the first time in, I think, 10 years. I think Hightstown won it 10 years consecutively, but they had a tremendous team. So, and we'll do them with a joint proclamation, hopefully at the next council meeting. And just also wanted to mention that due to President's Day, the offices will be closed on February 16th and the 19th. That's all I got. We'll make a motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Where'd you get that sourness of them? Very tasty. It's sourness.
Nobody answered the elevator button.
No one did?
No.